Welcome to Beefy Boys Breakdown. We're at episode 141. We're going over UFC Fight Night. Sandhagen versus Font took place in Nashville, Tennessee. And man, I gotta be real, man. The whole time I was watching this card, especially once it was done, I was just like, this would have been so much cooler if it was Umar, bro. Like, I mean, Rob Font, you know, all credit in the world for stepping up to the plate, saving the show. The show must go on, shooting your shot, salute, but this would have been so much more entertaining, so much more. You can debate more meaningful, but I just think we would have gotten a better fight. It would have had a different kind of aura to it, man. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well, doing well. Think I might have a little bit of a hot take here, which was that the UFC matchmakers kind of did too good of a job. These fights were, well, I say that is true of the first probably 8 fights, right? Like if you're looking at like the decisions or
Yeah, especially on the prelims. I see what you're saying. Like in a way, like there was a lot of really even fights,
right, like these
really
fights were
close fights.
very good fights, right? Except for the last four. The last four are actually not that close if you think about it, right? But all the ones
Yeah,
leading up to it, minus the okay. So if you think about first fight of the night, not that close. All the fights until the final four, very close in that stretch. My hot take here is that that wasn't the most entertaining stretch of fights because it continually was decisions or like full 3 rounds. Sometimes it's like whenever it's a loaded up prelims. Cheers, brother. It's nice to have like a couple big time finishes to break that monotony. And there was one more finish on the prelims, but it came, almost like it didn't feel good for us. I don't want to let the
well, and
cat out of the bag,
the,
but like it came so
the
late in the round that it was like you watched the whole fight anyway.
there's no way that Billy Q, Damon Jackson should have been at the very least, there should have been the feature prelims. Hell, you could replace Poser Kamer 10 times out of 10. And I mean, I'm not going to lose any street. I mean, you could argue that Billy Q, Damon Jackson should have been the fucking featured match below Tatianna and Jessica Andrade, if you ask me. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just high on those guys, but I feel like in general, that Billy Q, MMA fans love Billy Q. Damon Jackson's growing on us. You know what I mean? I think both guys have been ranked right around 15 at some point or another. I I didn't really understand the point of putting Bose or Kamer that high on the card. Lopez Tucker, I'm actually glad was that high on the card because you know I think those guys have high ceilings. But yeah, I mean we can dive right in here, starting with the main cards this evening. We got Ignacio Bahamondes taking on Ludovic Klein, lightweight division, and these guys are in a lot of ways opposites, man. You got Bahamondes, who's tall for the division, coming in as a minus 260 favorite. Taking on Ludovic Klein, who's very short for the division, plus 185 dog. I think Bahamondes is honestly a little bit overrated. I think Klein's a little bit underrated. And yeah, there's a little bit of hindsight 2020 sprinkled into that take, but also beforehand, we did get it out of the way. We did bet Bahamondes. I didn't love the value there. We threw it on a 5-legger, so you're not going to nitpick over a little, a couple of points. You just pick who you think is going to win. And I'm not trying to, revisionist history here. We did think Bahamondes was going to win, but even going into this, when I did think that the odds makers were disrespecting Klein a little bit, Klein, just very well-rounded. I don't think he really has any weak spots. I mean, just a dog of a fighter, good striker, good grappling. I don't know. I think it was mainly the height differential, the reach differential, the age differential that was leaning in Bahamondes' favor, and credit to Klein because I don't know if I've seen a better example of a guy figuring out a way to neutralize a severe height and reach disadvantage as Klein put on a display for us.
Yeah, Klein is a weird guy, right? Because we saw him pretty much a year ago take on Mason Jones. And I was pretty hype on Mason Jones, and Klein kind of shut him down and made me a
Yeah,
believer. And then he fought Jai Herbert after that. Goes to a draw with Herbert. Wasn't the best fight, right? And that was a fight where I think Herbert lost a point. A lot of people scored it 2 rounds to him, 1 round to Klein, but Herbert lost a point, if I do recall that fight correctly. Now that being said, uh, Bahamondes on the other side, I always remember that wheel kick knockout, right? But when I look at his record, it's not quite as impressive. I think his like list of who
Yeah.
he's beat and how. I mean, you look at Roosevelt Roberts. He obviously couldn't even make it back to the UFC on tough. Not to say it's not to sell him short or anything like that. Not taking a shot at him, but if he can't even be in the UFC amongst contenders or other washed up people, then that win did not age well.
No,
Is I guess
yeah.
the point.
Yeah.
Now
No,
that being
fair,
said,
very fair point.
that being
And I
said,
mean, even the win over Trey Ogden, not aging well. Like,
yeah,
so yeah, I
it's
mean,
not great.
he's lost. He's beaten the guys that were kind of canned, do wrong, whatever, who cares? And then he's lost to the kind of little bit of a step up in competition, I feel, Bahamun is still only 25 years old. I think the potential's there, but that record's getting saltier by the fucking by the fight.
Okay, so here's some things I liked, right? The reach advantage, loved it. The height advantage, 8 inches, loved it. Here was the thing on paper that I didn't, or that's not on paper that I didn't consider. Bahamondes gets cut open so easy. He bleeds in every fucking fight. And I always forget that because he's 25. You don't think he has, some crazy scar tissue, but I really think he does.
Old paper skin Bahamondes.
He's always bleeding. Now, that might be because he's eating a bunch of crazy shots. I don't know. But that also being said, the other thing that I didn't think about here was Klein is so fast. And Bahamondes really relies on that reach and length, and speed will negate reach real quick.
Yeah, well, and I think a lot of long fighters, because they're long, they're taught this style that's very keep kicky, jabby. They're not taught that fucking turnover, that fucking, you know what I'm saying?
That stinging inside shot.
It's just all about range management and cardio and peppering shots.
I think Sugar Sean does a beautiful job of showing what range management looks like while still having the power.
Great point. Yeah, Jalen Turner. But you see a lot of these younger, taller guys not have that mean streak. They're almost trying to be too pretty with it, too finesse with it. And Klein's the exact opposite, dog. He's coming in with a fucking sawed-off 12 gauge. He's not sniping shit. You know what I mean?
And he's really fast, but he's super happy to make it like a dogfight. He wants to be, because he's 5'7", right? He doesn't have that range, so he actually knows he has to blitz in and be in a dogfight, and he's so good at that. And then Bahamondes, to his discredit in this fight and matchup, loves to kind of try to clinch up with a guy whenever he gets too close because he's so long. Klein kind of loves that, it seems like. Was kind of working him, I thought, off the insides, too.
Yeah, and now let me ask you
I mean, also getting takedowns at will whenever he did get that close, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and getting big ground and pound off when he would get him.
Yeah, Jesus. That first round, he got cut with the up elbows, but, he did more damage with his elbows.
Let me ask you this, because this will determine if we go round by round. Did you have 30-27? I'll let the cat out of the bag. I did.
I did. I considered the second round for Bahamondes, to give him credit. I thought that round was close because he did do some good damage on the feet, but nonetheless, I still liked Klein more.
I was pretty shocked that two judges gave it 29-28, to be honest. I liked Klein's work a lot. I didn't even have the word close in my notes in any of the rounds. So whenever I found out two judges, I assume it was round two they gave. And fair play. I'm not saying I'm infallible over here, but I thought Klein 30-27. I mean, he won on the feet. He won on the ground. He was the more violent man. I had the word damage in all three rounds of my notes. He was getting like I said, just that violence, that sense of urgency, that bad intentions was all one-sided. Bahamun, it was in Bahamun, as we always say he trains with Bilal, right? But Bilal kind of fights that way too. Until the Sean Brady fight, he got the big knockout, which hopefully he's kind of turned the corner there. But Bilal kind of fought with that necessary technical, not trying to rip your head off kind of style, and it can work as we've seen with Bilal. But when you run up,
he's had to pick up his aggression a lot more, and I would also argue that Bilal is a lot better on the inside boxing game. Yeah,
no, for sure. I just think Bahamondes, man, he's got to let that dog out, or maybe he don't have it in him. Not at I am a believer that I don't necessarily say born with, but you can argue nature versus nurture, but I think in your early childhood days, you got to have that adversity that like makes you a dog. Like it's something that like honestly like we wouldn't wish on our own children, but we wish that our favorite fighters have. You know what I mean? Like that you
Hmm.
gotta have that like that trauma, that fucking Mike Perry trauma, just the fucking that Sean Strickland fucking trauma to fucking
Oh,
just
I
make
don't
that
wish Sean
dog.
Strickland trauma on anyone.
No, me neither. But you see what I'm saying there? Like I just don't know if Bahamondes has the mean streak. You know what
Well,
I'm saying?
I
Like
think this is important here too. As a fact, is that 6 minutes of control time for Klein, 3 takedowns on 5 attempts. So 60% of his takedown attempts, and every time he'd get him down, he was holding him down for 2.5 minutes at a time, right? So it was pretty dominantly Klein's fight just based on position control and damage from top whenever he was on. I mean, he was, maybe only on top for half a round each round, but he was doing so much damage with the position that even when Bahamondes would be good on the feet, Klein, even keeping it close, was enough for him to win the round easy.
yeah, man, and I don't. I'm kind of ended on this though. Like I'll be real. Like yeah, he was getting takedowns and he was getting them at like smart points of the round, but like. What I'll remember is how he was outstriking the 6'3" guy on the feet. I mean,
The
Klein
ins
is
the
5'7".
the inside
The
out
speed,
movement and like winning the inside jab battle was pretty crazy for a guy that short. Because you would think that Bahamondes could stand there and literally just keep the jab, like just keep on his back foot and keep the jab down the middle when Klein tried to come in. Klein was doing a really good job of feinting the overhand and then dipping up on the other side, body shots, coming in with the jab straight after the body. It was nice.
when just every punch Klein landed was so impactful. Like I don't think he had one fucking pitter pat boy. Every fucking shot he landed was a fucking heater. But
Well,
yeah, man. I mean, I like Klein.
I think
I like
being
Klein a lot.
I think being at a 7 or 9 inch reach disadvantage, whatever it was, like I think that made him have to just dive in like he was a wild banshee on every shot, right? Because think
No,
about
for
like
sure.
visually how that feels when you're that far away and you know that he's going to be able to hit you from A, so you have to get to B to even be able to strike.
Well, I mean, so that improves Klein to fucking 20-4, bro. Like that's nothing to sneeze at. Like that's not even salty. That's like a beautiful record, man. And absolute dog. He can fight at featherweight too. He's kind of been bouncing back and forth. He has a loss to Nate Landwehr. So I mean, I don't know. I like Klein a lot. He maybe needs. I think he probably would have more success at featherweight just because of the size, but he obviously proved that he can handle the size, so he can do whatever he wants. But yeah, I mean luckily, I mean not luckily, but our parlay was already busted. But that was one, man. Leading up to this one, I felt good about it. Minus 260. Vegas got it very wrong. Klein's a dog, man, and I just don't know if Bahamondes is. Like Bahamondes is technical and long and does is an intriguing matchup. I just don't know how like mean of a guy he is. Which I mean,
Right.
obviously MMA is
Lacks the
more like
dog. I don't see the dog in him. I mean, like he's
I
tough. He has a chin.
tough.
I don't
Yeah,
see
like he
killer
didn't quit.
instinct dog. I don't
Yeah,
see.
that's what I mean. Like he's not quitting. He can take the damage. He doesn't like. I'm not saying he's like a quitter or anything like that. I'm just saying like the mean streak, the bad intentions. I just don't necessarily see there.
I
So
would
hopefully he can
almost
get that
argue
figured out.
it's like a Nate Diaz kind of a feeling. Like I feel like he's gonna be there all day and like keep throwing strikes at you and like he's definitely a more technical, like fancy striker, but it's the same idea as like nothing is that violent. Nothing is like the ultimate like, damn, if that connects, like for sure your night's over. Unless it's like a wheel kick or something.
Yeah, no, for sure. And yeah, I mean we can keep it pushing. Up next, we got Tanner Bozer minus 150 taking on Alexa Hammer plus 120 in the light heavyweight division. And this was essentially the UFC roster watch bowl. Like I think that pretty much
Oh, dude.
the loser goes home for sure. I mean, both guys with some salty records, some L's. I don't know. I started off the week super high on Bozer. By the time fight night actually came around and it was time to place my bets, I didn't end up betting this one. I kind of talked myself out of it just because both of them are like, I don't want to say they both suck because they're both like tough, they're both talented, they're both powerful, they're both big, they're both strong, but they both have a lot of L's. They both get finished, you know. So it was one of those things where I kind of agreed with the Vegas odds, but it was like a close handicap for the wrong reason, to say it kindly. You know, like both guys have L's, both guys have holes, both guys have weaknesses. So it's like my knee jerk reaction was to really like Boser as a better, but then when it came time to actually, you know, put my money where my mouth was, it's just that Boser's a tough guy to bet on as a better, you know, just like because he is. It's not like he's infallible. I mean, he's, you know, he was 4-5 in the UFC coming into this one. I mean, some of his losses are to tough big guys, but yeah, I mean,
I think I tweeted it. I can't remember exactly what I tweeted. It was something like hard to bet on Boser, but Kamer doesn't deserve to be in the UFC equally in his own right, or somebody to that accord, where it was pretty much like hard to trust either guy because neither one is really that
hard to
good.
trust. That's how we'll be diplomatic and say both guys are hard to trust.
Yeah, Boser's tough to bet on, but Kamer sucks in his own right.
There you go. But yeah, and in all fairness, this fight ended up being super entertaining.
This fight was like weirdly entertaining though. Like I started to get to because like you could argue that, and if you look at the numbers, let me just tell you the numbers off the top, right? Significant strikes. Kamer lands 68, Boser 120, so it is doubled up. But 68 is like that sounds generous in my opinion. Like I don't remember Boser eating that many strikes. I remember eating him sorry. He had some good ones. There were some good counter strikes where I was like, "Oh shit!" Like maybe Kamer has a chance here.
That's what it was. It'd be one of those things where like Kamer would like eat 3 and then land a stiff one. You know what I mean? So like that number is actually in my mind kind of because like right when Kamer would start to get teed off on and get backed up against the fence, and you're like, "Oh, this is over." He'd fucking land a clean one on Boser, and it's exactly what we were talking about. Both guys have holes, so like both guys were like finding success.
You know what hole Kamer doesn't have? His chin.
Yeah, chin of the year candidate, I think. Like, so we don't necessarily have to go round by round here. I mean, all 3 judges had a 30-27. I'm pretty sure you have a 30-27. At least I hope so. Yeah, Kamer would have these like brief moments where he would, like I said, he'd be getting swarmed and then crack Boser. He essentially had a moment like that in every round, but he would never be able to like kind of turn the tides. He would never be able to like it'd be like a football team. They complete like a 30-yard pass, but then get a 3 and out on the next drive. Like, you know what I mean? Like they would have a big moment. Like, all right, here maybe we got something going for us here, but then it would just fizzle out, and I think the better man would just kind of end up taking back control. Quite frankly,
I don't know how Boser didn't get a knockdown in this fight.
Well, because Kamer's chin of the year. I mean, like honestly,
impressive.
I mean, you can not UFC caliber skills. You could argue UFC caliber athlete and UFC caliber chin, but 100%. Not like not UFC caliber technique, not UFC caliber probably speed. He's a dog though, but he's like kind of that Bahamundis style dog. No, he's more of a dog than Bahamundis. But I'm just saying like more of a defensive dog than an offensive dog. Like,
more of like a Negumereanu dog.
Yeah,
which is funny because he has a split decision loss to Negumereanu 2 years ago.
That's right. Wasn't that war when we
were like put the respect on Negumereanu's name in that fight?
You're right. I remember that one. No, man. I mean, I'm honestly like I was rooting for Boser. I picked the Boser like on the verdict. I didn't put my money on it, but you know, he needed the win. He got the win. It improves him to 5-5 in the UFC. And in all fairness, like one of those losses is Cyril Gahn at heavyweight. He hasn't lost to Arlovsky at heavyweight, and those were early in his career. So they threw him to the wolves. His record as of late is a little, you know, more generous. I mean, not really. I mean, he's 2-2 in his last. He's 2-2 in his last 4. He has lost. You know, he has a win over OSP, who's pretty washed. He has a loss to Kudalaba, who's just honestly better than Boser. Like, I don't think that's like shocking. So it's like I don't know if he gets another contract. Even with the win, he may find himself, you know, because it's just like he's clearly not like I don't think top 15 material. They did put him on the main card though, so they obviously like something about him. I don't know. Tough guy to get a read on. He gets a 30-27 win, and he looked good. I just don't know where Boser I don't know where Kevin Lee fits into all this. I don't know where Bozer fits into the light heavyweight division. Because we see later, I think the very next fight, or no, 2 fights from now, we got Jacoby and Nzechukwu, and I don't think he's quite on the level of either one of those guys. I mean, you could argue maybe you match him up with the loser of that one because of how it went down, and that would probably be a fun fight. But I think I'd still know who I'd bet on, and it's probably not Bozer. So I don't know, bro.
For me, Bozer's 1-1 now at 205. Got KO'd in 2 minutes by Kudalaba, who.
So Kudalaba's like the 17th best guy in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like Kudalaba's like.
I would argue that Kudalaba wouldn't be in Nzechukwu or Jacoby. Just stylistically, I don't think he would. So therefore, I wouldn't.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
I don't, and I think both those guys are bad for Bozer too, because like Bozer's just a weird. I don't like Bozer. If I'm being honest, there's not a matchup that I think is good to give him because his style is like he's just not a big guy for 205, and like you kind of got to be big.
Heavyweight.
I know, but he's just not big. If at heavyweight, his advantage when he was fast, and he had a speed advantage, and he doesn't have that anymore.
Yeah, no, I feel you. It's like see, I like Bozer as a dude. Like I'd love to have a beer with him,
Right?
Maybe, but like as far as like believing in the skill set, it's pretty tough. Can't say I'm necessarily shoveling coal, but it's not a tough schedule. He's a tough SOB. He put the work on Kamer. I don't. And I'll firmly say that I don't believe Kamer's UFC quality. Now, once again, I say this. This is maybe my way of trying to be nice when I say a guy should be cut. Go to the PFL and compete for $1 million. Those guys are ass over there. I don't know. Maybe there's a saving grace. Maybe head overseas and go do some Cage Warriors fights and sell some tickets. I don't know, bro. But Kamer. I mean, he came into the UFC, I think, at like 5-0, 6-0. He trains with Stipe, so he got the coach.
No. He came to the UFC at like 4-0 because he's 6-3, and I think he's 2-3 in the UFC.
That's what I'm saying.
One of them being Contender Series win, so 1-3 in the UFC.
Like, it's not, I'm not saying the road's over. I'm just saying, like, as we sit here today.
They put him here way too early.
Way too early, and it fucked him up. There's this thing that happens. It happens in all professional sports. There's rookies, first rounders every year that they think they made it. When it sounds cliche, that it's like, no, this is where the real work begins. Like, It happens in basketball, football, UFC. Like, these guys get signed to the UFC, and they're like, oh, I made it. It's like, no, dog. Like, this is day one of your job. You just
welcome
got
to the new, welcome to your hopefully new career.
Yeah, and these guys that come in at 5-0, 6-0, and it's just they're really doing themselves a disservice. But let's keep it pushing.
I was gonna say let's keep it pushing to a guy that came to the UFC with a record of 21-5, coming into this fight 21-6, and that is Diego Lopez, who took a short notice fight against Movsar Evloev, as John Anik would say. And put on a great fight, was threatening off his back the whole fight. Was so nasty. He was a dog.
He made believers out of us that night. He made believers out of us and a lot of other people.
Such a dog, that I believe he comes in at minus 175 here as a favorite in this fight. And
he's
Gavin
such
Tucker
a dog that you forget he has the Karen cut. He has the fucking
dog. His hair's the worst, and his tats are bad too. He's got Kyle Browder level tats.
It's like a blend of lead singer of AFI meets soccer mom suburban Karen, some weird Venn diagram where those two
John
overlap.
And Kate, Kate from John and Kate Plus 8. He's got the Kate meets AFI.
Yeah, he's got the emo Kate. So it's a tough look, but I'll say, to make us overlook that and be fans. That's how you know he's a dog.
He didn't land a strike in this fight, and neither did Gavin Tucker. Neither guy landed a strike in this fight. 0 strikes landed.
I didn't know that. Thanks for bringing that to the show. That's very interesting. Grappling heavy matchup.
Gavin Tucker 1 of 1 on his takedowns.
Yeah, shine your wheels there, Gavin Tucker. You should really be proud of that. But Gavin Tucker. 37 years old coming to this one, coming off the loss in 2021 to Ige, had some time off, had some injuries he battled.
Tucker's a guy we respect, but is on the downside of his career.
Well, yeah, he's a guy we respect, but also a guy that we were hammering Lopez minus 175. I'm honestly surprised.
Yeah, Vegas fucked up. I don't know if they watched the Evloev fight, and you can say, yeah, he lost 30-27 or whatever, because I think he did, but, like, dog, he almost submitted Evloev like 4 or 5 times in that fight. Evloev got scared to take him down in the third round.
Oh, wait, Evloev finishes Gavin Tucker in, like, Hamzat fashion. So, like, that's what I'm saying. Like call it MMA.
And that was on short replacement notice.
Yeah, probably had a hellish weight cut. Right. Like, yeah, no, I would say call that MMA math if you want to, but that's MMA math that I'll take to the bank. So this is what, we hammered Lopez. I love the minus 175 value.
And 21-6 coming into the fight. Like, a lot of fight experience. Like, clearly this guy's been in the cage a lot.
And Bravo was on the Fight Companion with Rogan and Shaw.
Yeah.
And, Bravo was saying that this guy Lopez, I didn't know. I guess Eddie Bravo owns Combat Jiu-Jitsu. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's his promotion.
Yeah, no, that's sick. And like apparently Lopez has fought for like Bravo, like in there like a few times. Yeah, so I mean
that's why he's so good at these catches. Not to spoil it, but it only takes him a minute 38. Takes him under 100 seconds to get Gavin Tucker in a triangle choke with armbar in mount. But it's not even in mount because Gavin Tucker taps in the flip to mount because his arm's getting snapped as he's getting choked.
Did he? Yeah, see, I was about to say.
He tapped.
See it tap.
In the slow-mo, in the slow-mo, he's literally getting flipped and he's tapping on his back while he's getting flipped.
Like, so much was happening. There was literally a triangle, an arm bar.
The ref didn't even
to mount. Like
the ref saw the tap and didn't stop it. Lopez actually felt it and let go before the ref stopped him.
Yeah, and like people were saying, there's like a walk-off submission. Like
kind of was
like rare. I mean, it's pretty rare.
Well, and Tucker like immediately grabbed his arm, like fuck, like he got me. Like he wouldn't have tried to fight back at that point.
I'm really hoping it's like a Jamal Hill situation where they can pop it back in and it's not as bad as it looks. But it looked pretty gnarly. So Gavin Tucker shot a takedown, got the takedown, but it was the classic meme of like, call an ambulance, but not for me. Gavin Tucker, Diego Lopez got him in the triangle as he was getting taken down, transitioned that triangle arm bar. I don't know enough about jiu-jitsu to explain how he ended up on top, but next thing I know, he's on top and Tucker's tapping.
Well, essentially, he got that, in like a triangle, you have the leg underneath the arm that's like the straight leg, and you have the leg over top that's like around the head, right? Well, as soon as he gets that leg like bent, like locked under like this, right? So like straight leg here, cross leg like that. As soon as he can lock it here, he has that guy's arm like this, right? Well, his legs are here, so he can just roll to his legs. And that guy doesn't have an arm to stop the roll. So he gets rolled onto his back. But in this case, the arm was like this, so he was literally getting it cranked as he was getting rolled over it. So he was just tapping on his back as he's getting somersaulted.
I'm saying Lopez is on this level of like a Paul Craig,
Charles Oliveira.
Like, there's, like... People say like jiu-jitsu doesn't work in MMA these days. Like, it does at the highest level. Like, you can't be like mid at jiu-jitsu and have it work. But if you're like the best of the best, like I said, this guy Lopez like actually goes and wins jiu-jitsu tournaments in Brazil and shit.
Combat jiu-jitsu too, where you can throw open palm strikes, so like it's very simulative, like close simulation to what this is.
Yeah, I saw this highlight of Hannah Goldie like winning a combat jiu-jitsu match. I was like, is this
that devalues it.
Yeah, that's how, like, literally, I'm such a hater.
Thirst trap Goldie.
Thirst trap Goldie was just straight fucking drunk. But, dude, she's also jacked, though. Like, she's a scary lady.
That's what I'm saying. Like, she doesn't even, like, probably jiu-jitsu. She probably just palm strikes.
No, it wasn't. She got to mount. Like, it was MMA. Like, it was, but it was kind of sick. That's what, like, I don't know. I'd honestly rather watch that than pure grappling. Like,
yeah, me too.
I try to act like I'm some like hardcore that like can enjoy grappling. It's rare. Like Mikey Musumeci, the Ruotolo brothers, like those one guys, I'll watch that. But like even like when Bo Nickel fought Gordon Ryan, like that was a snooze fest. Like a lot of these grappling matches are snooze fest. Honestly, like I'm just not that into it. Quite frankly, like I said, unless you're at the top, like the highest level. But I don't know, bro. I'm all in on Lopez. like, is he the new Brian Ortega? Like, is he Brian Ortega like 2.0? Like, does he just need to go get like a bad so-called Mexican girlfriend? We can just call him Brian Ortega fucking
Dude,
2.0. Like, yeah,
him versus Brian Ortega would be such a fun fight already.
it would be. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm a believer. I mean, he has a lot of work to go. He already fought as Evloev. I think Sadiq and Bryce are all matched up. Ige's been asking for a fight. Barbosa, I don't think he needs to fight another unranked guy. Like, we've seen him against the top class, and he's there. Like, he gave Evloev every bit of his money's worth on like 3 days' notice. Like, you can give him. I think Caceres has a fight booked too. I say you give him either Ige or Barbosa, and let's just fucking get this show on the road. He's old. It's not like he's young. It's not like you need to build him or. He's not, you don't need to Bo Nickel him. Like, he's here, baby. Like, Diego Lopez and his god-awful haircut are here to stay.
22-6, fires up some of the most dangerous submissions, is super entertaining, and clearly Vegas probably put some spec on his name as next fight. Yeah, let's get him a ranked matchup. As far as who, you might ask?
Got a bonus, too. So he's 2 for 2
so.
in bonuses. So I think Evloev was fight of the night. This one, he gets his first performance of the night. He's on a main card already. Like, Chael always, I'm not saying Chael gets everything right, but like Chael's just saying, like, if you're on a main card, you're either like going up the card or down the card. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like he's done nothing but like move his way up. I feel like you could put him in like a fight night co-main against like a Dan Ige.
I think Ige is the name here. I think that's the most fun matchup there too.
And I'm hammering Lopez because Ige will find a way to like find himself into a sub.
Oh yeah, we're gonna hammer the Lopez sub in that. Like, that's Ige's. Like, he might rock him and drop him, and then go down and follow him and get triangled.
That's exactly how I see it playing out. Like, literally, you got to kind of play him like if he gets the knockdown, you got to do like the Charles Oliveira, like get him back to his feet. Yeah, Lopez, man, elite jiu-jitsu. Like, and you can argue, oh, we haven't seen the rest of his game. Like, I think there's room for specialists. Like, if you're like elite of the elite, that's like I feel like saying we haven't seen Lopez's full game is like we've never seen Izzy like put somebody in a triangle either. Like, who cares? You don't need to. Like, I don't need to see Alex Pereira fucking get a go-go plata. Like, I don't need to.
Right.
Yeah, like it's just like that.
It's like exactly. I don't need to see Alex Pereira like hunting subs in every fight, right? Like, I need to see him just destroying people and defensively grappling. Same as Izzy, like, just defend takedowns and strike.
Do what you do.
Yeah,
do what you do. I don't need to see Steph Curry dunk. Like, I just do you.
Granted, he can. I don't care to see it because what he does with the 3 shots is way better.
Who gives a shit? Well, we got more light heavyweights coming up, man, and man, I gotta be real. This fight was a fucking boner killer. I thought Harrison will be right back, but I thought
here. I can hear you.
I don't know. I had such high expectations for this one. I thought this fight was going to be razor close, as did Vegas. We got Dustin Jacoby, 15th ranked light heavyweight at plus 130, taking on Kennedy Nzechukwu, minus 165. Vegas thought this was going to be close. I thought it was going to be close. It was not close.
You know what? I'm going to push back on that pretty hard, actually. I think this fight is super close until one punch lands. Because here's the thing, is I watched this twice because I honestly thought what you thought at first, right? Like, I thought you just kind of, like, walked through him. And then I started, like, thinking, like, Jacoby wasn't really landing anything before that. And he wasn't. I went back and looked at it. He wasn't. He landed, like, 2 strikes to the head before that and then just caught him on a counter because Nzechukwu, which it was being too aggressive, which we always say he is never aggressive enough.
Let me put it this way. Was Kennedy doing anything like? I thought Kennedy was like pressuring him and he was throwing, but it's not like he was like tuning him up. He was throwing.
No. But Jacoby wasn't tuning him up either, except for one like counter shot.
Okay, so who gives a shit? He fucking Ngannou nuked him. Like, all right.
But that's what I'm saying is it wasn't that hard of a shot, and it wasn't like he wound up. Like, it was just a inside little hook, like a little check hook inside.
Even more impressive, though, if you ask me.
It was just like a timing kind of a shot more than a power kind of a shot.
once again more impressive.
But I'm
Like
saying
more
that's more
higher
of a credit
level.
to Jacoby. So, and I don't think the fight was that
Yes.
far apart until that strike landed.
Yep. Harrison's trying to be very kind to our friend Kennedy and Nzechukwu. We bet on him. He's trying to rationalize the donation to the Reno sports book. I feel you. I do that too.
I honestly
I
think
don't
if they
know.
fight again, like this is a full 15-minute fight. Like I think that is a like an inside check strike that doesn't land again if they fought again.
For Kennedy's sake, I hope so. Like I hope it's a I got caught situation, which without a doubt he did get caught. I mean, he got caught against the guy who's better at striking than him. So it's like, did you get caught, or is
It
that
just
just the
seemed like
better
a flat.
striker?
It seemed like a flash KO kind of a moment, though, right? Like it was just a shot that like he just never saw coming. It wasn't that hard. It was just he never saw it.
Yeah, but that's because the fucking Hanyak put it on.
It's
He
it's
put it
it's
on.
it's much like Tim Anderson out there on second base eating that hooky hook from Jose Ramirez.
I just almost spit out my Topo Chico. That was fucking awesome. Best non-combat sports fight, including hockey. I've 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 seen what's Malice at the Palace.
I mean, luckily for Jose Bautista, he's not the guy that's gotten hit the hardest in the
oh, you're
MLB that I've
right.
seen.
Yeah, was that Rodon or
Rondon,
Rendon or
yeah.
yeah, that one was good. Baseball low key gives us some good fights. These
It's always
fucking
at second base. It's
scrap
always at second base.
scrappy fucking Dominicans and Cubans just
Yeah,
like dude,
yeah.
just
It's scrappy Caribbean guys that just like.
yeah.
Well, and Tim Anderson's like just a black dude from
Or
America.
who's the heavyweight from Dominican with like the hyphenated name
Oh, Jorgen De
that throws the
Castro.
piss missile. No, the younger guy. He's I'm drawing a blank. That's on me.
Super
The former
athletic.
like yeah, the former like he was like in the MLB or like in the minor leagues. He was a
Oh
pitcher.
yeah, I can't
The
remember his
Dominican guy,
name.
yeah, but we I don't know. If you know, you know. Leave a comment below if you know who I'm talking about. The Dominican heavyweight, former baseball player that eats
Literally
leg
was a
kicks,
pitcher
eats calf kicks,
and
and
like
throws
throws
rights.
piss missile rights.
Yeah, and just eats calf kicks all day. You know what I'm talking about. But yeah, man. But hey, shout out to that fight. You can argue that fight was more impressive than the Paul Diaz fight.
A
Like, give
hundred
me that
percent.
baseball
And you
fight.
could also argue that like as far as like pure boxing goes, might have been better hands from Ramirez than what we saw from Nate Diaz.
When it's cool too, because I'm not like I don't know a ton of baseball players. Like I've been a Jose Ramirez fan for a minute now. Like I have a bunch of his cards. Like
What about Tim Anderson? You fuck with him?
I do, but honestly, not as much as Ramirez, and that's not even like a hindsight thing. Like I've been I watched I never watched Cleveland baseball games, and I like it was a few years back. I like was watching one, and Ramirez hit like three dingers, and I was like, oh, I fuck with this guy. I went on eBay, started buying his cards. So I've always like started like I like fucked with it, and I was like, oh, this guy's got a mean over him. Let's go, new favorite baseball player, especially since the A's can suck my dick now. So like, yeah, I might go buy a Ramirez jersey. And
Only reason I thought of it was because I thought of when they asked the manager after the game, "What'd you think of Ramirez's left hook?" and he immediately stops and goes, "Right hook." Like corrects the reporter, like, "Oh, it was a right hook that set that man down."
it's a
Now,
right hook, you casual.
funny enough, it's a right hook that Jacoby sits Nzechukwu down with, and that's what made
Thanks
me
for
think
getting
of
us
it.
back on. Yeah, thanks for getting us back on the train here. But
Oh, we're just discussing
yeah,
the best right hooks of the weekend. That's
of
all
the
it
night.
was. Yeah.
Yeah, no, seriously. Yeah, I mean this stoppage took place a minute and 22 seconds. Justin Jacoby gets the win as an underdog. Yet another leg of our parlay that just ate all the dicks. Now, I mean, Dustin Jacoby, he made a good point in his post fight. Mike time, he said, he's fought back a couple times and he deserves to fight up. I don't disagree with that. I mean, I don't disagree with that at all. Now, let's see all the guys that he's already fought because he's been around a while.
He did hold a ranking for a little bit. I wouldn't mind
No,
seeing
he
him
did.
go
He
ahead
was
and get.
15 coming into this one.
Oh, he was. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. He defended his spot. He's fought back a couple times now. Let's see. He lost to Roundtree and Razak.
Honestly, he
Beat Darwin Jones.
he deserves a Reyes or a Minifield shot.
Minifield. I was going to say Minifield because I don't think Minifield necessarily deserves like I don't think I can definitively say that Menifield's better than him, but he's ranked above him. And I know that's not exactly how the rankings work. It's not necessarily like a Madden overall rating type of situation, but like I think he could beat Menifield, and I think he deserves to fight somebody above him.
What are these Mickey Mouse rankings at light heavyweight where it says Jamal Hill's still a champ, even though he relinquished it? Yuri's number one contender, which I agree with.
See,
Ankalaev's two, but has a draw against Blachowicz, who Blachowicz is behind Pereira, who he has a loss to. So how's Pereira not ahead of Ankalaev, just MMA math? I don't know.
it is dope to see Pereira in the actual light heavyweight rankings now. That is interesting that they didn't jump Ankalaev. See, that's one of those conspiracy theories about the UFC wanting like guys from that part of the world, like real, like that conspiracy's out there, and like this is kind of an example of it.
Also,
Like Pereira has more fans than Ankalaev. He's beat higher ranked guys than Ankalaev. He's a former champion. Like I don't think there's really like an argument to have Ankalaev ranked over Pereira. I mean, I am a Pereira fucking nut gobbler, so fucking I mean maybe that factors in, but
Also, Chiesa doesn't retire. Crazy. Drops to 15. Kevin Holland gets to 12 and at welterweight, but I wonder if he'll stay. It's like that whole deal with him is wild. And then the only other story that I had, I guess, with the weight movements here is Spivak up to 7, Volkov down to 8. I don't even know why they moved that. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Aspinall stayed at 4. I thought Aspinall
well, I
might
think
move up.
because Spivak's about to fight Gone, and I think they're trying to like add a little spice to that one, add a little something on it. I don't know. I think they're trying to low key build that up as like a quarterfinals match, like the winner gets Aspinall, like you know what I mean. If Spivak's ranked like 10, it doesn't matter as much. I don't know. Granted, speaking of being ranked 10, and this proves the whole kind of Fugues rankings argument. We got Tatianna Suarez, ranked 10 in the strawweight division,
Future
minus
champ.
360, 10-0 coming into this one, taking on Jessica Andrade, plus 285, fifth ranked strawweight. And it was not a question of if, but a question of how. And I still managed to get that one wrong. Your boy bet Tati 5 knockout. No, did I think she was going to hit some fucking spinning wheel kick? No, but I thought there was going to be some top control ground and pound. Everybody was telling me it was going to be sub. Value Hunter McGee over here was like, I was trying to be the smartest guy in the room. Like, oh, ground and pound can get you a KO too. It was like plus 400. I got greedy. Fucking sue me. What can you do?
I think what we need to remember the next time I bet on Tatianna Suarez is that, in fact, she is so much better than all the rest of these girls that whenever people, like, so coming into this fight, for instance, they said, is she going to be able to deal with the strength of Jessica Andrade? So for her, it's more of like a check on her list to submit her and subdue her, like, via, like, out, being stronger, right?
Well, and Andrade got subbed by Lemos, right? So like, I'm dumb for like not like she gets subbed. Like she was fighting Tatianna Suarez and she gets subbed. I was just value hunting too deep. I was lost in the weeds.
But like, here's what I'll say is that if Tatiana next fights a girl where they tell her that like she can't strike with her or whatever, she'll probably try to get a TKO. Like she always tries to. She has that John Jones thing about her where she's just gonna try to beat the other girl at what she's best at to prove a point.
Yeah,
and she's good enough to have that. I think that's what this.
So
I think that's what this is, right? It's a round 2, minute 31 second guillotine choke, and we can talk about the first round. I thought Andrade looked all right at the start.
Round 1 was close. Close-ish. I do have the word close in my notes. Andrade was able to get up from the first takedown, which a lot of people thought she wouldn't necessarily be able to do. And then she got some decent damage off at the end of the round. That being said, I still gave round 1 to Tati. I saw people on Twitter calling her Tati, so I'm going to start calling her Tati. I kind of like that.
Yeah,
Tati. Tatiana did get a fucking takedown and some nice clinch knees to the body. She has an interesting style to me to where she's in so much control, and I don't mean like top control, even though that is usually what it manifests into. But like, she doesn't seem to like have that much adrenaline going, which is a good thing. I don't know. I don't want to sound like a hater here. I guess I'm going to. It's not, and she gets a lot of finishes, so maybe I'm just straight hating here. But like, this not the most exciting fight. like style to me, but like also maybe it's because we haven't seen her be pushed. Like maybe it'll get exciting against like the elite of the elite, or I don't know.
Her striking is definitely not exciting because it's a lot of body work, right? Like a lot of body kicks, like a lot of like mitigating range, trying to like convince the other fighter to come in close so that she can then shoot the takedown.
Smart and effective.
Yeah, super smart, super effective. A great strategy, honestly. Like Bo Nickel could do the exact same thing and be super effective. And I think that's
but I'm so glad Bo Nickel doesn't. Bo Nickel starches my. That's what I'm like. Yeah, that's what I kind of want to see.
He's not fighting. He's not fighting number 4 in his respective weight class. You know, so
true. I bet
Tatianna,
Bo gets a lot snoozier at the top of the rank.
Exactly.
That'll be some foreshadowing for our main event.
And honestly, man, getting a finish of number 4 in the world at 6 minutes 31 seconds of a fight, like, it's not really that snoozy. I mean, it was, but it was just so dominant.
Not snoozy. Yeah, I don't even know the word I'm looking for. Maybe that means I'm full of shit. I don't really have a point to make here.
You know what else I thought was really impressive with Suarez is she's 3 for 3 on takedowns. Her first takedown attempt, like, Andrade was doing everything she could to keep that range. And that was that one where Tatianna she shot across the body to the inside low single where she pretty much just got Andrade by the ankle, but she was able to put enough force into it. I don't know if you've ever had someone like press into your shin. That is very hard to stay standing when someone holds your ankle and puts a shoulder in your shin.
Well, I'm really glad you brought that up because we talk about how good the wrestling is and the grappling and like this was a prime example because it wasn't that great of a shot.
It was a bad shot. But it was a bad shot.
But she was able to finish it anyway, and it was like, oh, like she even wins when things don't go perfectly. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
she's really comfortable wrestling out of bad positions and bad shots.
Yeah, no, and she is a matchup nightmare for that. Because the only other wrestler in the division is Carla Esparza, and just physically.
Oh my God, Esparza would get walked through.
But that's what I'm saying. Like literally, like everybody are ranked ahead of her because I imagine she's going to take Andrade's spot at 5. Lemos is fighting for the belt. She's not a wrestler. Yan Janan, pure striker. Rose, definitely a striker. Carla, a wrestler that's like half her size somehow in the same weight class. Like I just, the only other wrestler in the division's like half her size. So it's they
will 100% punish Rose or Carla with Tatianna next.
Rose, let me look here. Let me see if it's official on Tapology. I believe Rose has a fight.
Rose was
flyweight. Oh, she's fighting Manon Fiorot.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought.
I'm gonna hammer Fiorot low key. Like,
I think so too.
Probably get some plus money.
Yeah, and of course, there's gonna be a time Rose lands like a wild head kick. Like, watch.
Hey, I don't care. I'll live with that. I'll live with that as a better.
No, I could see. I could see Esparza getting punished and having to fight Tatianna Suarez.
That's a number 1 contenders match, and it's wrestler on wrestler, and she's gonna out wrestle the wrestler. And
oh my God, she is going to like literally ragdoll that bitch. That sucks.
No, I agree. But also, am I tripping, or did Carla have a baby? I thought she might have had a baby recently. I don't know.
She better have a baby to have an excuse to not fight Tatianna Suarez. Jesus Christ.
Man, let's hold on real quick. I'm gonna run to my room and grab my alarm clock real quick before we get to the main event because I might fucking fall asleep.
Dude, yeah, I'm glad you thought that too. We didn't talk anything about the main event. Rob Font landed 9 total significant strikes in a 25-minute fight. Goddamn shameful type shit. Cory Sandhagen got 7.
How many did Sandhagen land? Honestly, in all fairness.
Technically 34, but like not really. You know what I mean?
That's
I guess
so little though.
Yeah, it's just over 1 a minute. Just over 1 a minute. Great point. He had 19 minutes and 40 seconds of control though in a 25-minute fight, and 7 for 7 on takedowns. That's the story of this fight. I don't want to go round by round. It's a waste of all of our time. This fight was mostly a waste of all of our time because Rob Font didn't do anything to try to win, even in desperation in the last 2 rounds when he knew he was clearly... Round 1 was back and forth. It was kind of close.
I was about to say, I thought round 1 was close-ish, but like not really because there was a clear winner. It was just
agreed.
He had to work for it.
And then 2 through 5 were just like him completely getting controlled, having no answers. Sandhagen beating him to the point at every sequence on the ground, literally controlling 4 minutes of every round on average.
Cory Sandhagen, 4th-ranked bantamweight, even though this fight takes place at a 140 catchweight, only because Rob Font had accepted last minute. This was supposed to be against Umar Nurmagomedov, which would have been so much cooler. He got hurt. It sucks. It was going to be his first main event. We've been talking about Umar is like better than his ranking for like what 2-3 years now, and this is going to be his chance to finally prove it. Just like when Sugar Sean finally got matched up with Peter Yan, it was like a similar vibe. And then just fucking boner killer after boner killer. Umar gets pulled out. Rob Font steps up and he said, all the credit in the world. Fucking salute. You're a bad man. Like very few men on planet Earth would accept Cory Sandhagen on like, what was it, 1 week notice or 2 weeks, whatever it was, 10 days, like under a month.
I think 3 weeks. Notice. I think 3 weeks.
And credit to Rob Font. And it was a smart move for him because like, Rob Font wasn't going to be in a main event. Rob Font wasn't going to be in a number one contender.
Well, and what's he risking? Because he's already fought so many guys, he doesn't have this massive hype train where he's risking his name on anything. Like, okay, if you lose to Sandhagen on late replacement, guess what? You're still going to get match made in the same fights I was going to match make beforehand because I wasn't going to give you Sandhagen beforehand, so I was already going to look backwards. So, okay, if you lose, I'm already going to look backwards. And if you win, all of a sudden we're talking about maybe Rob Font title.
Yeah, literally. So, I mean, everything to gain, not much to lose. Shout out Rob Font.
Shout out Sandhagen, too, for staying in and taking it. Same thing with taking the...
fuck off. What was he going to do? Tell Dana to fucking pound sand?
Well, funny Sandhagen pound sand. But I guess more credit to him for even taking the Umar fight, right? Because apparently a lot of guys wouldn't take that fight, and he's a dog for taking that. And if you've heard him talk about why he took it, he's even more of a dog because his reason... I
love that.
For those at home is that he said, well, if I can't beat him, then I don't deserve to be champ. He was like, I need to be able to test myself against all these guys so when I'm the champ, I know that I earned it and deserve it. That's a commendable way to approach being a champion.
It's smart too because also like Umar is only going to get better.
Exactly.
That's the thing these fighters
beat him
get
now.
wrong.
Like he literally kind of has that like figured out promotionally. It's like beat him now so I can later say like I already beat that guy. It's kind of the Connor shit where like he got Poirier early, he got Holloway early. Like he got these guys out that like grew.
That's where everybody gets it wrong. Like whoever's turning down Shavkat, like get him now.
Right.
Like, once he has a couple of 5-rounders under his belt, you don't want that smoke. Like, get Shavkat now.
Like, low-key, I'll be honest, Jeff Neal, or Ian Gary's kind of one of those guys, too. He's only 25. Like, Jeff Neal's kind of smart to get him right now.
Yeah, get him now. No, that's where everybody gets this wrong. Like, let's kick the can down the road. And guess what? These guys are only going to get better, and you're only going to get older. So,
now,
get them.
Before we head out on this episode, I do want to just touch on Jake Paul and Nate Diaz.
Actually, talking about kicking the can, I want to open the prelim segment with that. So,
okay, fair enough. We'll kick that down. Let's just discuss what's next for Cory Sandhagen then, because Rob Font, like we said, doesn't really matter.
50-45 unanimous. The word snooze is littering my notes right now. Sandhagen Ahmedov just started wrestling, getting takedowns at will.
They weren't necessarily even the best like takedowns and control. Like Rob Font wasn't doing the most to get up was kind of my problem too.
Well, and also I want to kind of address some of the fucking Twitter smart guys out there, the fucking smart marks out there on Twitter that are like, oh, if you thought this was snoozy, then you're casual. Because there's been fights where I took that stand. This is not the fight to take that stand. There was not like Sandhagen, like you said, he landed 30 strikes in a 25-minute fight. Like, there was no damage done. Now, in the 5th round, when Sandhagen finally started attempting some subs and some darces and some, okay, that wasn't that snoozy. It was the 5th round. Like, there was that darce attempt. Like, it was mildly entertaining. Like, something happened. But rounds 2 through 4 were dog shit snooze fest. I don't care. Like, I'm not a casual. Like, you don't have to be some like high level guy. Like, I bet Eddie Bravo thought that was snoozy. It's not like high level grappling was going on. Like, I bet Mike Mitsumechi thought that was snoozy. It wasn't.
That's what I'm saying is like, yes, Sandhagen was able to keep control, but oftentimes it wasn't the best display of grappling. Like, it wasn't. Like when we watched,
Bob did a good job of having that butterfly hook in to where it wasn't even that dominant of control. Like, yes, he was on top, but I mean, he wasn't able to really secure a position.
Well, and the ground and pound he was able to get was like pretty broken apart. Like, he could never like actually posture and like start landing a bunch of shots. Like,
Zero posture. Imagine having, what was it, 24 minutes of control or whatever, and like
20 minutes of control in a 25-minute
20,
fight.
and he didn't get to full mount once.
Yeah, good point. Only one
He
sub
didn't get to.
attempt in 20 minutes too. I mean,
I don't think he
you
got the
give Mikey
side control. I don't
Musumeci
think he. I
20
don't think he took
minutes.
the bat.
I think if you give Mikey Musumeci 20 minutes of control, he's going to sub you.
Oh, it's a bro, and it's also like, bro, I'm an Aljamain hater. I'll full out say it. At least he takes the back. At least he takes
Yeah,
the
at least
back.
he gets in a position where it's like
position.
where the ref literally cannot stand them up because like it's like, all right, he's on the back. Like,
Also,
be
I think
respectable.
and they were like, who reffed this? Do you remember who reffed the main event?
Ooh, I think I have it right here in my notes. Let me see. It's on the scorecard, actually. It was Jason Herzog. And that's the problem. Herzog respects jiu-jitsu too much.
Too much. Everybody was Cruz was on the broadcast saying, I thought it was Herzog. I just didn't want to.
If this was Tognani, there he's tugging him up immediately.
No, they should have. And you could argue sometimes people have too quick of a trigger and blah, 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 blah. Bro, come on, Herzog. Like, there wasn't any damage being done. He wasn't even advancing position. He wasn't threatening submissions. Like literally, what argument can you make for not standing it up?
It was super shitty because he was like halfway advancing position because he'd knife through the butterfly into half guard, and then Font would shrimp, put the butterfly back in, and be back in full guard. And it was like, damn it, this is the shittiest like position battle where it was almost like they were battling for position A whenever submissions only happen in position C and D, and they were just going from A to B to B to A to A to B to B to A, and it's like, okay, yes, they're advancing position back and forth, but this isn't position that's actually effective for submission. So like, we got to work for effective positions here, boys.
That was really well put by you. Yes, I completely co-sign everything you just said. Great way of really putting a bow on that one. And actually, it's very rare that I fucking agree with Henry Cejudo on Twitter, but Henry Cejudo made a very valid point on Twitter where he said that, like, hey, thanks a lot, Sandhagen. You just like confirmed the fact that me versus Merab is the #1 contenders fight, and I can't agree more. Sandhagen thought he was the smartest guy in the room, and all I got to do is get a win by any means here, and I secured myself a title fight. So, of course, I'm going to fight boring if it's for a title fight. Fuck all that logic. And then Sandhagen's trying to reverse engineer the logic. He's like, I'm going to out-grapple the strikers and outstrike the grapplers. You didn't do dick, bro. You didn't do dick. And then I also thought it was kind of, on the flip side, I don't know, Beefy Boy's Twitter follows at Beefy Breakdown on Twitter. Like, I was firing off at Sterling. Sterling had the audacity to talk shit about how snoozy Sandhagen was. And I was like, bro, this is all your fights. Like, you can't hate on, like, you literally can't hate on this. This is you. Granted, it was worse than him, but still, broad stroke, this is what a Sterling fight looks like. Like, for Sterling to try to get on a high horse and condescend, it's like, oh, so now you get it why we don't like your ass.
Listen, Aljo's cranky because he's in the middle of his crash weight cut.
How's that crash diet, Aljo?
Yeah, I was going to say, Sugar Sean's online trolling is terrific. It truly is the matchup of differential approaches and style of like that. I'm going to just be the bigger, more physical guy that can cut 40 pounds and just be a bully in the cage, versus the guy that cuts 15 or 20 and wants to use the actual skill and technique. It's good. I love that matchup.
Yeah, but I agree. I can't wait for Cejudo Merab. Like, literally, that's all I was thinking. Like, as I was waking up from this snooze fest, I was like, oh, give me Cejudo Merab.
And you know what? Because
for all those people firing out that, like, oh, you're a casual if you don't like grappling, Cejudo Merab's going to give us some entertaining grappling and some high-level exchanges and scrambles. I honestly don't know who I picked. I don't know how you handicap that. Merab's probably the favorite there, but Cejudo would be a live dog. That's a perfect matchup for Cejudo, stylistically.
You know what I think is pretty wild, at least from a matchup perspective, is that Merab and Cejudo has a lot of gas on it, but also, like, as a #1 contenders fight, it really can't be, but is, if that makes sense. Like,
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, like if Sterling wins, then for Merab it doesn't matter.
No, Sterling. This is Sterling's last fight at bantamweight. I'll bet my fucking left nut on that. Like win, lose, draw. Maybe not
Okay,
draw. Win or lose.
okay, but I don't think he wins and
Sterling's
immediately.
move.
I don't think he wins and immediately vacates or vacates before the
I do.
Cejudo fight
I
takes
think he
place.
pulls a GSP because he's been talking about it for like 18 months. I mean, this isn't like a new like. Sterling's been. I think in the last 3 fights he's been talking about moving up to featherweight. He hates that cut. He's proven a lot at bantamweight. I think a win over Sugar Sean. I think he views as cleaning out the division, and he's not wrong. He's beat Sandhagen.
He's beat
He's beat.
Yan. He's beat
He's beat
Cejudo.
Cejudo. Like, what are you gonna do? Wait for Umar to like recover and win 2 fights? Like, no. Like,
He's technically beat or he's not. He hasn't beat O'Malley. That's Cheeto that's done that. Um, but yeah, I think O'Malley and Sterling's very interesting. Well, if O'Malley wins, then for sure. If Merab wins, then but like you'd give Sterling the rematch first because he's defended his belt.
But I don't think he wants it. I think if win or lose,
if he lost it to fucking Sean O'Malley, you know how salty he'd be inside.
you're not wrong. But I think if he lost it, he'd probably blame the loss on the weight cut. So you get some circular logic there.
Well, he's getting older, so that weight cut ain't getting easier.
It ain't getting easier. And as much as pay-per-views as he thinks he'll sell with O'Malley, him versus Volk is like actual like life-changing money. Like,
Yeah, because Volk's gonna sell more.
yeah, not because of him, but but champ, you know, like that type of shit. Will be the biggest fight of Sterling's career. He thinks O'Malley's the big fight. Him versus Volk's the real big fight. It would be an interesting matchup. I mean, I would pick Volk, but I mean, it would be a different type of matchup for Volk. I mean, it would be. I mean, it would be interesting, I think. But yeah, man, let's put a bow on this one. Get to these prelims. Get to Paul Diaz. That's our little hook to get you to tune into our prelim segment, even if you're not super big prelim guy like we are. Granted, these prelims are heat. I actually think like fight for fight entertainment value wise, maybe better prelims than main card.
Breakdown value, you're gonna get a lot more breakdown value out of the prelims.
Yeah, 1,000%. But yeah, we'll also you know, jerk the curtain with Paul Diaz and kind of give our takes on that. So yeah,
we'll jerk that
subscribe.
curtain.
Oh, yeah, we're jerking it over here. But, yeah, I mean, like, subscribe, leave a couple comments. If you agree, disagree with our takes. Follow us on Twitter, at Beefy Breakdown. The Twitter's been popping lately. Shout out to everybody engaging with us. Shout out to MMA Jasmine on Twitter.
She's check out our clips.
A lot. Yeah. Oh, dude, the shorts are going crazy. Check out our shorts. And, yeah, give them a share if you don't mind. But, yeah, appreciate you, bro. We'll be right back for